Hey, welcome to 1000 Feet Deep. This is an EdTech program designed to give you more than just an introductory look at apps and programs and different things like that, and more how you can use them to create quality instruction or have your students creating, making, being original and creative as they're going through these different projects that you have them doing. So what we're going to look at today is a program called Plotagon. And as you can see, Plotagon is a program that goes, you can download it for your Mac or PC. There's an iPad app as well. But what it is, it's essentially a foolproof coding program or app that you can do to make different videos. They've got different stock characters, or you can make your own. I'll kind of show you how that works in a little bit. There's a social media aspect to it. Here's one that I did just a few days ago. It was an interview with Dracula in the park, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit. And then just a silly knock-knock joke that I made a couple of days ago as well. But what I wanted to do is just very quickly kind of show you how it works and what it can do, and let you play with that. But afterwards, have a discussion about the different ways that you can use Plotagon to cover Common Core standards in language arts, history, a number of different other subjects as well. So this is your home page. You show up. It's basically a feed of different people. You can have a profile where you can follow other users and that sort of thing. You can follow, again, it's kind of like a Twitter feed, something along those lines. Discovers where they give some of the more popular plots that you can follow as well. There's a lot of creativity in there. There's a lot of interesting ones. Some may or may not be appropriate for students, but such is the case with any kind of use, any kind of program use. If we go to create, this is where kind of your draft board, where you can start creating plots, is what they call them, or creating new characters. And you see I've got a couple of new characters in here. And I'll show you some of the others that you can get through the program. But we'll get into Dracula in a little bit. I'll kind of show you how I came across this character here. And then the character Soda Pop, who's from The Outsiders. And what I did with this particular character is looked at a descriptor, actually from the movie, and tried to base his look on what the character looked like in the movie. I'm going to X out of this and just show you what creating a new character looks like. You just go to create your character. You have a choice between male and female. And then start up here, and you can choose, kind of based on what a character might look like, whatever you envision a character might be. Give them, different, older, to a younger, slimmer, and lots of different options you can do. You can choose the hair. You have at the bottom, you have hair color. You can go anywhere from, you've got blue hair, brown, any of that you can do. Facial hair if you wish. Different features: eye color, eyebrows, lip color, anything like that. And then some accessories you can come over. They have a few different options of some silly things, as well as some, if you want, the cleaver in the head, if you're into that sort of thing. Pumpkin for Halloween, Secret Service, whatever it might be. There's some different options you can do. And then clothing, tops, bottoms, and shoes that you can add to your character, and then give it a voice. The stock voices, I'll show you some other things here in a bit. The stock voice.
How do I sound? How do I sound? How do I sound?
So again, different options for the voice, but I'm just going to cancel out of that. Again, if you can navigate through those things, you can kind of figure out how that would best work for you. This one you can delete, copy it if you want to change some features, rename it to whatever you want. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. If you go to up here where it has the store, they have within the program several free or paid, depending on what you want to do, different packages. The Christmas one that just came out, it's new. Different kinds of characters that they've created that you can make those students, teachers, school, hospital. There's a lot of different varieties of things you can do. There's some characters that they're always adding new characters to the program as well. And then the scenes have a lot of different options of places where you can have your story basically acted out. What I wanted to do is, these are obviously some of the general features, but some really neat things that you can do with Plotagon that will help support Common Core when you're creating new characters. If you're talking about characterization, for example, and I'm just looking at some of the literature standards here. I kind of picked 6th grade. Some of the different standards that you can cover with this, citing textual evidence. As you get into making a plot and create a new one, and this is where I think it can be really powerful. When you hit scene, location, you have all of these different options of places where you can have the story take place. Depending on if you're looking at, recreating a scene from a novel, something like that. There's debate panel, where you could have, for social studies, you could have, if you're talking about two different political agendas, two different candidates, something like that in your class, you can have the kids basically summarize what you talked about by creating one character on one side, another character on the other side, and acting that out. If you wanted to do a summary kind of activity, if you've ever heard of the structure of elevator speech, where you're given 30 seconds to say whatever you can say. You're in an elevator with a famous person, you have their full attention for 30 seconds while the elevator is going up and down. You could do something like that. And just a bunch of different options. There's a classroom. You can cover any kind of classroom activities. Looking at, there is a press room. Talking about events, current events, breaking news, that sort of thing. Again, just a lot of different options of things that you can do. The talk show one might be interesting, where you would create an interviewer and then have a famous political figure, historical figure, or a character from a book, a novel, something like that, where you could interview them and ask them questions. These kind of things would allow kids to really be creative and innovative, a new way to show versus writing a summary of material, to have them act it out and show it. And I'll show you a couple of things that it does that could really help with characterization. I know that's always a popular topic with language arts, is talking about characters and really analyzing why characters do what they do, how they develop. Again, that's a standard from Standard 6 for Common Core, and the RL standards explain how an author develops the point of view of the narrator or speaker in a text. You can do that. Compare and contrast the experiences of reading a story versus seeing it live. This would provide the opportunity to kind of, if you're acting out a scene from a book with a couple of characters there. So let me just go. So when you click on character, it brings up the stock ones plus the ones that you've created. So let's say you wanted to interview Santa Claus, and he's in the guest chair, and then I can pick just a stock character named Steve. Looks like some sort of worker. He's in the host chair, and then I have options to set the dialogue. So here I have just pick Steve, and this is kind of where that coding thing comes in as well. So Steve, and I can change the kind of attitude, personality, whatever he's got. I can have him be, maybe he's bored and he's yawning, you know, not that interested in what's going on. Maybe he's, let's see here. Maybe he is angry at Santa for not bringing him what he wanted for Christmas, something like that. But the nice thing is, with this, and I'll just kind of show you how this works. So Steve is saying, why didn't I get the pony I wanted for Christmas? And so I type that in, and then I can kind of have it play back what it sounds like.
Why didn't I get the pony I wanted for Christmas?
So you can see it's fairly animated for listen to that again.
Why didn't I get the pony I wanted for Christmas?
So again, it's fairly animated, fairly accurate as far as maybe how you want that character to sound. But what you can do also is it'll record your own voice. So I can go here, record new voice. Why didn't I get the pony I wanted for Christmas? And then you can add your own tone and inflection to it. So I'll play that.
Why didn't I get the pony I wanted for Christmas?
So instead of having that kind of mechanical stock voice, you could also have, have kids add in their own voice to get inflection. So if you're recreating a scene from a book, doing a summary of a short story or an article or something like that, where you really wanted the kids to inject their own personality and flair into it. And if you're reading an article about two different presidential candidates, for example, and you want to kind of recreate Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders or Ben Carson, whoever it might be, you can go back in and go to characters and create a character, and looking at a picture of Donald Trump, for example, and make the character look like what he looks like as best you can. It's not going to be exact, but it's going to be pretty close, or at least kind of how they would envision a character if it's a fictional character like George or Lenny from Of Mice and Men, for example. Based on the descriptions from the book, you could go back in and do that. And I'll get back to that kind of in a little bit with Dracula and show you what I did with him earlier. Going back to your plots, it saves automatically, which is a nice feature, but it gives you a lot of different options. So Steve is angry, he does his little thing, and then I can add in an action. So maybe Steve, maybe he's getting after Santa Claus and he pushes him, so we could do that and then play it.
Why didn't I get the pony I wanted for Christmas?
I didn't do it for some reason. Oh, well, that's why the target is too far away, so some actions don't work. So, kind of a foolproof thing. So maybe and if you don't like it, you can delete it. You can also add, you can add sounds. So maybe there's a crash or something that goes on after he says that, So lots of different things you can do with that. So what we'll do now is look at an example of something that would add some pretty good depth. That wouldn't take all that long to do with your students. This is a passage from Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it's just a description of what the character Dracula looked like from Jonathan Harker's diary in the book. And with Plotagon, you could give this out to a student, and they can then go to the character creator and create a character that looks as close as possible, at least to the image that's in their mind of what this character would look like, of what Dracula would look like. So the key terms in here: he's a tall old man, clean shaven, has a long white mustache, clad in black from head to foot. So if we go back to our character, and we can see that here's an example of these are some other things you can do which are kind of cool if you just want to be neutral, or if you want them to be scary. You know, so there's Dracula. We'll just have him thinking, whatever. But he's dressed in black, he's got the mustache, he's got the dark hair, he's kind of an older looking gentleman. So again, you can have students kind of recreate what that character looks like, especially if it's from a book or a story or something that's not popular, like Dracula would be, that a lot of people kind of have an idea of what he looks like. But it gives a good way for kids to bring to life what they see in their minds as far as the character goes. So we're going to go back to our story here, but I wanted to take you back to so there's a description piece, but then there's also this action piece. So he moved impulsively forward, holding out his hand, shook his hand, a strength that made him wince. It seemed that it was ice cold, more like the hand of a dead than a living man. Sorry about that. So when you look at that and then try and bring that to life, so what I did was I created this plot that has to do with I just picked Soda Pop, just a character who's kind of introducing Dracula, but to kind of run down the format of the plot. I chose a park bench because it's dark, Dracula's scary, it seemed to kind of fit. And then what I did, I just copy and pasted a part of that description that I showed you before, and then added in some of my own kind of material, And then he shakes hands. He said he moved impulsively forward and holding out his hand, grasped mine with the strength. So kind of the action goes along with the description. And you can add in some eerie sounds of wolf howling. And then I added in a couple of, just a few things to kind of make it, to give it some personality, to make it kind of silly. But let me just go ahead and play this from the beginning so you can see what it might look like.
Within stood a tall old man, clean-shaven save for a long white mustache, and clad in black from head to foot, without a single speck of color about him anywhere.
Hello, my name is Count Dracula.
He moved impulsively forward, and holding out his hand, grasped mine with a strength which made me wince. An effect which was not lessened by the fact that it seemed as cold as ice and more like the hand of a dead than a living man.
Between you and me, I'm not the sweet old man who I appear to be.
Someone, help, please.
So again, you can see that's a pretty simple setup. It didn't take me a whole lot of time to put together. Maybe 10 minutes tops. Not even that really. Once your students kind of get the hang of what you can do with it, they could, obviously there's a lot of bells and whistles that can throw in there that they may not need to, but I think it's a really good way to help students bring characters to life, to help them show you as a teacher what they know about a character, about a story, about an article. They can really summarize it, synthesize it, get it back to you in a way that it's original, it's fresh, it makes it come alive. And I think this is a way that we can really get into some fairly deep Common Core thinking. This is something you could carry out for just a few minutes. You could do like at the end of class or something. You could have them do a long-term thing where it's they're recreating scenes from books that a little longer. You want them to summarize the entire thing, something like that. Lots of different options that you can do with Plotagon. Show you here some different ways you can get in touch with Plotagon and find out more about it. This is their Twitter page, where they a link to their website and different things, but they share a lot of the plots that people have made, some different things about them, some different ways that people across the country, the world really are using Plotagon. There's Lincoln Douglas debates, which again, a great way to bring history to life. Lots of different ideas that you're going to see coming through. So there's mine right there. But just a lot of different ways that you can use Plotagon. Teach the kids how to use it. The sky's the limit for what you can accomplish with their creativity. Whether it's recreating something that's already happened or creating something new with bringing their own narratives to life that they write and then have a chance to add action and animation to. It teaches them also a little bit about coding, at least the processes of coding in a very simple way, as far as putting things in the right spot, in the right places. So again, this is Plotagon. It's available on, as you see here, there's a free trial on iPad, Mac, and PC. And then there's a free app available on iOS for iPads as well. So check it out. It's really good stuff. You will not be disappointed at all in what you can do with Plotagon. Thanks, and tune in for the next episode of 1000 Feet Deep.